All right, here we are, friends. Another week of programming, another opportunity to be all you can be, my friends. So we got week 9 here. This is rest peak. So we're moving into this final phase. Well, technically the rest. We got a rest weekend there, which is the final phase. But for the program purposes, we're moving into the final phase, this peak phase. And so as you're going to be seeing here, things are going to start getting a little bit more specific. We're still in this rest cycle, so that's the emphasis of everything. And we're in this rest year, so that's like the theme of everything. So within that context, we're in this peak phase, so things are going to be getting a little more specific. And overall, like, it's a rest week, so it's going to be lower. And I mean, it's a 1-1-1 for the intensity and the volume and density. So yeah, let's hop in, brother.
Hop in. Hope you guys are doing well. All right, listen up. Strength day. You know, it's been like a 3-3-1. We've had that kind of scheme going for the last few weeks. All right, so again, these ones, keeping them a little lighter, consistent. We are changing things up now, though. So hopefully we're able to like push the one and see how your technique has been progressing with the block up that we've been doing the last few weeks. You're gonna translate that now. And starting off, we got a below the knee hang snatch. All right, so seeing like that's about below the knees is roughly about where the medium blocks are, so it should be like a similar like position to start. So we can stand the bar up, gonna go below the knee, go into one snatch, okay, and then 2 overhead squats. So similar to that snatch plus the overhead squats we were doing from the blocks, but again, doing it from a hang just forces you to be a little bit more tight, a little more like locked in with the core, locked in with your positioning. So we'll see how that form's been progressing. So 3 by 1 plus 2 out of 1. Okay. Then next we got some good old back squats. Okay. Let's put some weight back on the bar. Get you guys moving through the full range of motion. All right. Just 3 by 3 at 1. So again, depending on how that feels, making sure these are like absolutely gimme squats. Honestly, you should be focusing on your form, making sure I can stay in a good position, exploding up out of that hole, like all that. We're not trying to like break your back, no belts, of course, just focusing on the form primarily. Then last, we got the bench press. All right, good old just bench, not supersetting at this time. 3 by 3 out of 1. So that means we can try to like really try to lock that form in once again. I only got 3 reps. So it should be like, you know, somewhat challenging. Like you should still be like, hey, I know I can do this, but I'm going to see what I can do, push myself a little bit for the bench. All right, Coach Nate Scott, day 2.
All right, day 2 is going to be our specific day. 2-2-2 or 2-2-1 for the day, intensity, density, or volume, density, and intensity. So we're getting specific. So literally, we're doing a snatch, 2 by 2 out of 1, and we're going to do a clean and jerk, 2 by 2 out of 1. So it's a little bit of a taste of what we were seeing last cycle, except it's much lower weight. But again, in this peak phase here, getting more specific on things.
You want to see the next day too?
Sure. And then we got day 3, weakness day. 1 volume, 1 density, 2 intensity. And again here, just like the squat and the bench on the strength day, we are doing only 2 reps at a 2. So you're going to be able to have an opportunity to push the weight a little bit. And even though, yes, we are doing these lower reps, just still be mindful of the intensity. We're not trying to totally send it at this point. Just getting a little bit of that heavier stimulus, which will actually start to set us up nicely going into the next cycle, where the test is going to be 20 rep max, snatch, bench. Whoa. Got him. 20 rep max, squat, bench, and deadlift. So basically like your powerlifting total, but based on a 20 rep max. All right. So starting to get more specific with that.
All right. So love that. And also too, right, like we talked about before, we're showing you guys different variations of deadlift. Obviously, if you've been with us for a while, you would have potentially seen like a high bar squat and a low bar squat. So as we're getting ready for that 20 rep maxes, figuring out what movement pattern is going to be best for you in terms of a couple of these different movements, but we'll stay tuned for that.
I was kind of curious about that with that back squat to either specify, because I know there's going to be questions.
Yeah.
and I'm wondering if we leave it open, or we can even like intentionally just play around with the different variations just to get a feel.
Yeah. I feel like we've done them with the deadlift, so.
Yeah, so low bar back squat.
Low bar back squat. Oh.
Cool. Yeah, so that way we can get some exposure with that. And then when we go into the 20 rep maxes, we can kind of figure out which one that you stick with, or at least for the test. Like when we do different variations throughout the week, maybe we'll mix in different variations, but the test, because it's going to be based on how much weight you can do, you're going to want to pick the variation that is going to be able to get you the most weight.
It's best for your body's limb length and your mobility restrictions and all that. So we'll explore it. We'll find it together. Okay. Day 4, bar work, right? Just more technical if you want to get in and get some extra work in. So you know what to do with that. Day 5, though, is accessory day. So hadn't done any like clean accessory type work. So the first one is a complex. From the ground, we're going to do a clean pull, right? Up. And then from there, before putting the bar back down, I'm then going to go right into a below the knee hang, and then go into a power clean. Boom, elbows up, catching it high. All right, reset. And then I'm going to go for a power jerk. Split jerk, obviously the foot goes in front. Power jerk, those feet stay more underneath the hips. And you just press all the way through. So we got 2 sets of 1 plus 1 plus 1 out of 1. So just some more accessory work, making sure you guys are going quick, firing those elbows, staying fast. That's the whole point of this one. And then got superset. No surprises to anyone. We got the multi-directional lunge. Really bringing it back. Hey, I mean, realistically, guys, this is just a very solid movement. You're covering, several planes of motion. You're really getting those quads and the hips and the glutes, like firing, which is what we need, like for all the other stuff we do, and just in general, like having these muscles activated and have these planes of motion touched on is just always gonna be good. So, it seems maybe a little redundant, but it just honestly is a very solid exercise.
It's just like, we do deadlifts and benches and squats and snatches and cleans every week to various different levels, like the lunge and its main variations, which the multi-directional lunge being a variation that just covers a lot of things.
Yeah,
it's kind of like another one of those staples exercises.
It's not like you might see a bunch of different unique, very like niche exercise variations like on the internet and on social media and whatnot, but like sometimes less is more. Like simple but effective. Like you just got to find things that are smooth and consistent. So just keep that in mind. So anyway, superset with multi-directional lunges and a sled row. For the lunges, all right, 2 rounds, so I'm going all the way around, all right, forward, diagonal, lateral, diagonal, reverse, 2 times, all the way around, both legs. And then the sled row, all right, so you got the sled that has like the handles that like the straps, and I'm gonna like squat and like row, like kind of moving backwards through space, all right, 200 feet, so all the way down the turf, and then all the way back, all right. It is still obviously one of the day, so you don't have to like super duper load it up. You kind of want to like go quick with those. If you make them too heavy, like it'll be kind of like stuck and like, and it's a 4-minute AMRAP for both of these. So honestly, you want to keep that weight a little bit lighter so that I can move through space quickly, go back and forth, and then get back to those lunges. Trying to get at least 2 rounds of both of those a piece before the 4 minutes is up. I think it's a pretty solid goal. And get it back to Coach Nate for last day.
All right, so finishing us off here on the big test day. So it's a 3 intensity for the day, so kind of like that moderate intensity, which, especially when it goes to the mini mayhem, a lot of that just has to do with the pace and like how you're pushing yourself. So that's a way you can gauge that. So like a 3, just to give an example that might be helpful in other areas. So like from a percentage standpoint, a 1 would be equal to 0 to 60% of your, as much as you can do, your 1 rep max, for instance. A 2 would be essentially 60 to 70%, 3, 70 to 80%, 4, 80 to 90%, and then 5, 90 to 100% plus. Okay? So you can even see that as like your exertion level, where it's at a 3. So I'm thinking about, what did I say? It was at 80 to 70 to 80%. So like in that 70 to 80% range as far as like how much I'm exerting myself, okay? So that's just to give you an example of how you can look at that. So we got the overhead squats first, 3-3-3 tempo, 3 seconds down, 3 second pause, 3 seconds up. As many reps as you can do, 50% of your body weight. And then we got the mini mayhem. So 14 laps this week. We're bumping them up, inching up. So 20 is going to be on the rest test. So we still aren't at that yet, but that is going to be the culmination there. So that's what we're moving towards. So 14 laps, 40 push-ups now, okay? 32 box hop overs. So each hop over is 1. So 1, 2, 3. So that's 32, or that'd be 16 on each side. And then you've got the lateral med ball slams up. Make sure you clear the head, slam side to side. So that's 48 total slams, 24 on each side. And then you finish off with 14 laps on the turf again. And anyone too, because I know we've actually been getting kind of more views and other people tapping into these videos outside of just the Optimal Evolution team. So 1 lap is essentially equal to like 200 feet. Like, because we have, there's a length of the turf, which is about 100 feet. So if you are, following along or want to do this somewhere else, that's what a lap is, okay? So that's the mini mayhem. And then you've got the ping pong. Just three games. Keep practicing. The ping pong Baloo's is about to be lit, y'all. We got some heavy hitters rolling up. It's been cool. It's been fun. There's been quite a lot of interest in the ping pong, which has been cool because it's simple. Well, it's not really simple, but it's accessible, and it's fun, and it's a nice little warm up for training too. I like to do it. Oh, we forgot one thing. We're gonna keep that rower in there. 5-minute row, and when you're doing that for your warm up, the rower, it could be helpful to play around with different paces. So it's like you kind of, give yourself at least that 5-minute window to practice. But within that 5-minute window, you can play around with the technique of your stroke of your row. And then you can look at those different numbers to give you feedback. Because obviously you've got the one number that tells you the average time for 500 meters. So the lower that number is, the faster your pace is. So you can play around with your pace. Play around with how the way that you stroke affects your pace, because you'll probably find that if you're longer and a little more forceful, even though it feels slower, you actually end up going faster than trying to be all like short and quick. So play around with those kinds of things, and even play around with different times. Like maybe you take 30 seconds and like do more of a sprint, or even playing around with different intensity. Because that way you can start to get a feel for that 90-second sprint for the side quest. You can start to get a feel of what's going to be the best technique for you to get the most amount of distance in that 90 seconds. Okay. Yeah, I think that about covers it.
Keep rolling, everybody. One day at a time. Keep showing up. Do what you need to do for yourself. And always know the answers, the solutions are always just you being willing to acknowledge what's already there. You being willing to accept and to just love what's already there. Because what might be happening might not always be the most enjoyable. It might feel like these things are happening to you. But Coach Nate and I were just talking. We talked about for a long time that life gives you things. And it's up to you to decide whether those things are happening for you or to you. So, ultimately, it's the path we have to walk, and we have to choose how we live our lives. But hopefully we continue to push forward and just keep moving and just enjoy the ride.
Beautiful. There it is. Wisdom from Coach TJ. And don't forget to rest, y'all.
Got to rest.
On the 7th day, God rested. Peace.